So primarily, there are 4 primary dimensions or personalities. And that's called the DISC. Now, I play chess and I relate everything to business. I relate everything to business. I relate everything to leadership. I relate everything to strategy. I relate everything to bottom line and bread. I didn't come to play games. I didn't come to draw cartoons. I'm super serious about you guys getting your money right. That's me. Somebody else will give you all kinds of other things. That's fine. I don't knock any of them. And I study all of them too. I study all of them. But when you come here, my messaging says you want your money right. So I don't do anything but strategy, money, business. So when you say D to me, I hear queen. When you say I to me, I hear knight. I hear bishop. I think strategically. How is this going to help me move and conquer? How is this going to help me to strategically deploy my resources to get the money right? All right. So with the D, or what you would call the D in the DISC assessment, I call the queen on the chessboard. And because we speak the language of money, success, and position. So if you are a D in your assessment, then that's your language primarily. If you are an I within your assessment, then I relate that to being the knight. And the knight is a high I, as they would call it, which is with their language is friends, fun, and party. They are the life of the party. They talk more than they think. And that's not. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with any of these. If you're not an I, you would say there's something wrong with an I. If you're not a D, you would say there's something wrong with a D. If you're not an S, you'll say there's something wrong with the S. If you're not a C, you'll say something wrong with the C. What I'm saying to you is that every piece is the best piece. Every piece is the best piece. So it's good for you to know every piece so that when you're speaking to someone who is a S or who is a C, and you might not be, you're still able to get through to them because you respect them and you value them highly, so highly that you have actually studied what their language is. Does that make sense? Just put it in the chat if that makes sense. We're talking about human relationships. We're talking about human natures. We're talking about value. We're talking about helping people, while helping ourselves at the same time. Okay? So the I is the knight. Their language is primarily friends, fun, and party. Then there's the S, or the bishop. Their language is support, people, and helping. They are mainly supportive. That's where the S comes from. The bishop, if you know chess, the bishop moves sideways, and you put it in the cut. You kind of set it, let it, and hope the other person forgets it, because as soon as they land comfortably, you snatch their piece, bow, and they forgot that the bishop was ever there. For my chess players. For my chess players, the knight moves unlike any other piece on the board. No other piece can replicate the movement that the knight makes. That's a big piece, because the queen can move like the bishop, and the bishop can move like the queen for a moment, but it can't do everything else that the queen does. So the queen can move in any direction. The bishop can only move sideways. The knight can only move in an L shape, 1, 2, 1 up and then to the side. The king only moves one piece at a time. For that reason, their language is number, data, and rules. Numbers, data, and rules, because they only move when they have to or when they know that they are right. Some people would say that the kings or the C's are the smartest people in the room. I just know you want to have one on your team. I just know if you're talking to one, you'll be able to see it, because they'll say, give me some time to think about it. Or they'll say, do you have more information on it? Can you send me an email for it? What does the data look like? What does the numbers say? That'll tell me that I'm speaking to someone who's statistically oriented. They think in ones and zeros. They think in logic. So I've got to switch it up as opposed to whether I was speaking to a queen, because if I'm speaking to a queen, they don't really want to hear nothing except the bread. They want to know how fast they could get started, how much it's going to cost, and how much they're going to make. The bishop want to know how it's going to help them help their family. I want to know how it's going to help them make more friends and fly all around the world. So now we're talking about your messaging and how you're composing your messaging to attract your people. All of them. See, your messaging can't be one way because you're only talking. Now, see, you'll be talking to one person, but remember what I said, the one person who's ready to make a decision. Now, the person who, see, people come at different stages. So there's a point in the D's life where they're ready to go with you for your offer. There's a point in the C's life where they're ready to go with you for your offer. There's a point in the S's life where they're ready to go with you for your offer. And there's a point in the I's life where they're ready to go with you for your offer. And when you say that one thing, you're speaking all of their languages. So think about it here. I have people on this call who are all over the spectrum. Not the autistic spectrum, of course, but the spectrum. D-I-S-C. Multiple D's, multiple I's, multiple S's, multiple C's. I wouldn't say so many C's. Now, I attract D's. Now, D's are the least likely to be at the party. We like 12%. There's only 12% of us in the world because we drive through the wall. There's very few of us. And most people don't like us because we're so forceful. But we attract each other. So if there's a lot of D's on the call, it's because I'm a D. And you was like, yeah, I like that. He don't play no games. He don't talk light. He don't talk light. He don't penny pinch or pussyfoot. He dead serious. I like that. Now I'm a high DI or a queen knight. Those are my two pieces that play together on the board, right? So my knight moves innovatively. I say things that you probably haven't heard. And before coronavirus, I was flying around speaking. That's what I was doing and executing at a high level. The bishop is the systems. They are the system people. They are supportive. They are people. They are the helpers. If they are not there, somebody's in trouble. Somebody's in trouble. The king is the calculator. They're the blueprint creators. They're the ones who have the mastermind. They're the master builders. They're the ones who don't make, and they advise and they consult. And they're hardly ever wrong. Are we good on this slide? I know I'm giving you a lot of information. I know it's different than what I may have been previously giving you, but is everybody good on this slide so I can move forward? Just put it in the chat. I haven't seen the chat move at all. Is anybody in trouble? Okay. Okay, I want to make sure because I know it's different. All right.